over, but I've been too nervous about it because I was afraid people would make fun of my accent. But today I decided to try this out because I will have to do some narration. Today I'm inside of my Mamaw's old house, and this will probably be one of the last times that I'll be able to come in here. The house is going to be demolished probably within the next few months. And it's been abandoned since at least 1995. And I remember when she still lived in here. I was probably about 5 or 6 when she moved out of it. And it was because of how old it was, and it was hard for them to maintain and to actually fix it up. This right here was the kitchen. Right here used to be cabinets. She said that somebody had actually come over and they wanted those cabinets, so they removed them all. Now this right here was where the stove was. Of course, there's this dishwasher. You can see this door right there. It's an old door. There's actually another one that she's got that's just like it. That's in another room in here. I'll show you the wall. And right over in here where these chairs are was the kitchen table. And really, I can't say to this day how on earth we had family gatherings here. I had kind of a big family, and I'm still not sure to this day how we fit everybody in here. I remember coming over to Mamaw so many times. She'd watch me over the summer when Mom and Dad was at work. And I'd have breakfast so many times. She'd have biscuits and chocolate gravy and bacon and scrambled eggs. I remember doing that all the time. Now, Mamaw told me this right here was my older cousin's, what's left of my older cousin's baby crib. Right in here, this cabinet she keeps, or she kept, her canning stuff. I think there's still old gallon water jugs in there she keeps in case the well goes dry, the power goes out, or if it snows or anything. Now this right here used to be kind of a junk room. Now Mamaw said it used to be a bedroom at one time. I don't know really whose room it would have been. Here's the bathroom. I've taken quite a few baths in this tub. There'd be some times that I'd spend the night over at Mamaw's house. She used to have, you can see the curtain. I remember these curtains. She used to have it decorated in a butterfly and ballerina theme. She had a blue clock that said bath, and I remember the clock was in the lower part of the bed. She had some butterflies and ballerinas. The sink, of course, was right there. And there's 3 layers of wallpaper in here. Was the oldest. This one probably is the second. This pink one actually wanting to use that wood paneling, so they actually took it off. Right out here was an old swing set that I used to play on that my cousins would. Me and my other cousin would play on there. Now, I remember my younger cousin was born in 1995, so he barely even remembers this house. Here's their big porch right there. Let's see, some of the roof is starting to go, and there's stink bugs, of course. I remember they had a shelf right here before. They had this also had a radio on it. Papa would have his country music playing all the time. And they also had a lamp that had either a blue or a green bulb in it, I think. Right here there was carpet, and it was green. I believe they had their dresser right here, and their bed was in a weird position. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. Right here is their living room. Let's see, it wasn't very big at all. And again, I can't see how we had Christmas or Thanksgiving in here because how small it was. Now this right here, this couch, oh, there's my purse. This couch used to be up against this wall. And she had a chair, I believe, that was probably right in here or over here. I can't really remember now. It's been so long. Her TV was in that corner. She tells me this lounge chair was somebody else's. I don't know exactly whose it was. She's actually still using this house as storage right now. And that'll be until the house finally gets demolished, which I don't know exactly when that'll be. Now you can't open this back door. I think it's pretty much rusted over. Here was her back porch. You can see her swing. It used to be like as it used to swing, that old swing back there. She also had a little square, looked like a couch. Me and my older cousin used to sit in that all the time. Right here was the guest bedroom. Let's see, it started to cave in. And this was because back in April 2011, this was during that tornado outbreak that hit on April 27th. They actually had a tornado that come through this area. And at the time, they were inside of the fire department, which is right across the road from where they live now. You can see it. I'll show it to you all. See right there. You can see the fire department. They were actually standing there at the time. And I don't know if you can even see the tree, but the tree actually fell on top of the corner right here. And of course you can see 6.5 feet tall in some places, and about 7 foot, and a little bit higher in the other parts of the house would be shorter than that. There was a stove off a lot. Kept the house pretty warm during the winter time, which it was always drafty anyway. Right here, she tells me that this wallpaper is here when my papa's mother lived here. There's no telling how old it is. It actually feels like it's made kind of out of, I don't know if it's cardboard exactly, but it peels off really easily. Which I can remember a lot of that wallpaper had already peeled off by the time Mamaw and I were here. And another thing too, the wall, or the floors actually are uneven. And right here, she said that this desk belongs to my cousin Randy. A lot of his stuff is still there. Notice the wind's blowing in here too. It sounds kind of creepy. Which I'll admit, and this is before I'll stop with this, this room always creeped me out as a kid, and I think it's because of how it was built anyway. You can see it's kind of, there was a weird kind of